Welcome back to the Night Shift. Your safe space for talking about UFOs, UAPs, NHI, disclosure, and everything else that's going on. It's crazy out there. How is everybody? You doing okay? It's wild. It's good to be back with everyone. It's been a busy week. Eric published a book. Dan is on tour with Guns N' Roses. Xander put out an album. Pavel got married. And me, I became a writer and a podcaster. How you doing, guys?
What's happening, buddy?
What's going on?
Busy week for us all.
Very busy.
But it's good. I miss the whole team here. Where's I know Pavel's not around. Where's Eric today?
On another adventure.
Yeah. Didn't he just like bicycle around the world or something?
I think he does that every week.
It's crazy.
He's published like 13 books on long distance hiking and like outdoorsmanship, and like he's a certified expert badass.
Yep. He's someone who consistently makes me feel very, very lazy.
I was like, my son's like, we should go camping, Daddy. And I'm like, how do I camp? What would I do? How would I
get a hotel? Wait, no.
Let me get a Airstream.
I'd simply have to get one of those tents. You just like, I assume you just throw them into the wind and they assemble themselves before they land.
I've seen
it.
Those are cool.
That's how everyone does it, right?
Yeah.
And then there's probably a button somewhere on the inside that folds it back on.
Yeah, the tent button.
Puts it back in your pocket.
And while all this stuff was going on in our own personal lives, they kind of like proved that there were tens of thousands, possibly hundreds of thousands of technosignatures in orbit around the Earth. That paper passed peer review. 3i Atlas continues to get weirder and weirder by the day, to the point now that it's just like driving people insane. Jeremy Corbell came out with a whole statement on 3i Atlas clarifying his previous comments on the idea that there would be some big lie coming about alien technology coming to Earth. I mean, that's just a few of the things that are going on right now. Am I missing anything? What am I missing, guys? I feel like there's about a half a dozen other things at least.
I'm still riding pretty high on the Dan Sherman stuff. Oh,
I was literally about to say exactly the same thing. Yeah,
I'm still beaming from the Dan Sherman interview.
Yeah,
and research I've done since then. I'm enamored by it.
Yeah, I'm exactly the same. It's not exactly much of a secret, but myself and Clint, we've just been on like a 2-hour call with Chris Ramsey, who kindly has agreed to do an interview with for the Dreamland Motel, and because I'm terrified of doing interviews, and because Clint is the interviewer, I invited him along as well. So we've just spent like 2 hours unpacking it, and I'm still like in that zone, just like, as I said, I'm ontologically shocked at the moment.
Yeah.
It's kind of crazy.
Well, can we recap this for people who are either not up to speed on it or just don't know what we're talking about? Why is this interview so significant? What was covered, and who is this guy?
Would you like to? Oh, you're busy drinking. So yeah, Dan Sherman was part of a program in the early 60s. He was born in the early 60s, wasn't he? But he was part of a program, I think it was the early 90s, called Project Preserve Destiny, where he was effectively taught to communicate with non-human intelligence. And this was a CIA program, NSA program. It's a whole documentary put out by Jesse Michaels. Goes through his training, which sounded like torture, and then it goes into the actual nature of the conversations that he had with NHI. And at first it's just another one of those, this guy talks to aliens. There's 100,000 of those guys already. But this guy's properly been vetted. He is who he says he is. He did work with the NSA. Like, all of this is provable. And not just that, like, and we'll get into them over the course of the next hour or two, I'm sure, but there's a lot of other branches that you can now look at, which, Dan, it sounds like you've been looking at, and it's just connecting dots everywhere for me at the moment, and that's why it's ontologically shocking, because I now no longer know what to think at this point.
Yeah. Yeah, we're on quite the roller coaster right now. Was Ramsey, is he pretty into the Sherman stuff as well? Cool.
Yeah.
Why, like, what is the ontological shock portion like for you? Like, explain that.
To put it simply, and I said this in the interview, so please go and watch that anyway. That'll be out in a couple of days or whatever. I said, before I emailed you about a year ago, so we're probably around the anniversary of our
courtship.
Yeah, of our courtship.
Right.
I thought it was one thing. I thought it was grey aliens from Zeta Reticuli, and I thought it was just they get here using probably wormholes, and Bob Lazar's probably right, and I thought it stopped there. I thought that was it.
That's it.
I was like, I've got it all figured out. I even wrote posts on Reddit like this is all gone too far, guys. We're not on a prison planet. There are no reptilians. There's no mantids. And now, yeah, a year later, and I'm like, am I going nuts? Because now it feels like I've gone. So I've jumped 2 feet into this at this point, and I can't find my way out. I can't really make sense of the reality as it seems to present itself.
But what part
anymore.
of what Dan Sherman was saying puts you over the edge?
Interdimensional beings that are time traveling, and they are talking about a cataclysm, and the nature and the fact that it's sort of linked to a few other things that we'll get into, and it's all of that. It's like, okay, I don't think this is aliens anymore, and I thought I was an alien guy.
Let me ask. Well,
Oh,
I think it's just about an expanded idea of what alien might mean, right? Like that's the weird thing. It's sort of unsettling. It's like, well, what informed? This is what I was trying to say before when we were talking on the other call. What informs your idea of what an alien is, right? It's the cover of Communion. It's whatever movies you've seen. And those movies were made by people, those ideas came from somewhere, and they were refined and put into the mass media for us to have kind of something to work with, to sort of digest these things, these stories. But then when you talk to people, or you hear people talk who have actually been so deeply involved in the program, and they start to talk about the minutia and sort of the routine nature of some of the things that they're doing, at least for me, the impulse is to take that as fact, because it sounds so extraordinary, but they're saying it in such a routine way. Like the way he talked about his training, and the way he talked about like what sort of the communications were, and how it was just sort of this process that they would do, and how you get used to anything. And but it's like Bob Lazar was the first big mind blower for me, right? And that expanded my universe, and I kind of built the foundation of my understanding on that. Like that's my foundation there. And then I start to build everything. So everything else I think I believe, or I think I know, stacks on top of a reality where Bob Lazar is telling the truth, right? And I can assume that stuff is real. So as we start to go up that ladder, we hear more about consciousness and this consciousness technology, time travel, parallel timelines, future people coming back into time. And right now, this is the weird rabbit hole I find myself back in with this Dan Burrish thing. I'm working on a long form video on Dan and his story, and I found a clip from like 2008. And in that clip, you guys saw it, right? He's talking about 2 different parallel timelines, 2 different human lineage extraterrestrial advanced races that are traveling back in time. What to do? What? There is a cataclysm that is supposed to happen. Some of us go underground and survive. Some of us leave the planet and survive. Both those groups form their own civilization, and both of them want to change the past vis-a-vis this cataclysm. And there is some kind of like compounding effect to all of the time travel surrounding this, that we experience it as the Mandela effect. We're experiencing compounding paradoxes caused by multiple trips back and forth to try and fix the fucked up timeline. And he's talking about this in like 2008, and he's walking people through this in an interview, and he's doing it. And he's like, and he's saying in the interview, he's like, this is blowing my mind. I'm hearing this and I'm having a hard time believing it. I don't understand it, but yet here we are. And he's explaining his whole story. And then when you hear Dan Sherman talk and Jordan Jozak and all of these other people, it's like puzzle pieces are starting to click together in the last 12 months. All of these weird different puzzles are starting to join together, and I'm starting to see the outline of a shape that I think I understand what it is.
The hardest
What do you think it is?
I think it's the things I think I know, right? This is my joke, because on the website I want to have things we think we know. Things I think I know are that consciousness survives death. That's a fundamental fact that has something to do with this. Technology can interface directly with consciousness. So your body is essentially just a container. There is something to that. And I think these older races or these older intelligences are aware of that. It's part of their reality. Whereas for us, it's kind of like a question of, do we or don't we survive death? We're not really, depends on who you talk to. But if you knew that was a fact and you built that into your experience cycle, what would your civilization look like?
Well,
and I think there is definitely time travel happening, because it just sounds like for 25, 30 years, you go back and look at any of the whistleblowers you talk to, they all talk about two things: time travel and consciousness. So it's starting to feel like, okay, we can put that to bed. That's
the time travel thing was always, for me, that was like a red line. Like, and as much as I found Dan Burrish's story incredible at the time, I was like, I can't get on with time travel, because it's just, once you start creating logical paradoxes, like, I'm kind of going to fall off, because it has to make linear sense to me. But now at this point, I'm starting to think, I just don't have the perceptive ability to understand what time travel would actually look like. And it's not exactly like a known science at the end of the day. We can imagine what time travel looks like from our current scientific framework, but once you pass the speed of light, who knows what happens? I have, and as I said, I don't think time travel is the machine. I don't think there's a time machine. I think it's likely that time is just, it's kind of an almost, it's important to us, but maybe not quite so important to NHI. And the way they navigate around time, as Dan Sherman said, I think they said they operate around time. It's more of a byproduct of the way they get around. It's like they go here to accomplish this objective. They don't think about what time what year it's taking place. It just, that's where they go, rather than clicking, turning like some wheel and setting the dial to 1985. I don't think they do that. I think they just go.
I think the other thing that blew my mind was when he talked about, he describes the sensation of having a telepathic interaction with another intelligence, and he's really struggling to kind of like wrap language around that experience and find a way to like localize it. And I watched that that was very interesting to me, to watch the way that he struggled through his explanation, because it's sort of, it resonates with things that I've experienced with psychedelics that seem to make more sense, hearing someone talk through it. And it also resonates with what I hear a lot of remote viewers describe as their process for sensing data. And he's talked specifically about, like, I think he's like, I never tried it, but I think you could actually send a smell telepathically. Like, I could send the smell of a rose from one person to another. And just describing how to do that. And I'm thinking about, like, when I've heard interviews with Lynn Buchanan or Daz Smith or any of the other really great remote viewers, or Birdie, you'll hear them talk about how they perceive sensations. And it sounds like they're talking about a similar experience set, right? Almost like if the apparatus of whatever organ they're using to do this, if it is a part of like our biological brain or some other way that we access information, that there is a standard, to it. There's a rhyme to a reason to the rhyme.
Yeah, a lot of things being repeated. I feel like lately, a lot of things being repeated by a lot of different people, different experiences, overlapping what you're saying. Exactly.
I guess if anybody watching wants to sort of give their 2 cents, I guess we could. If you want to join the Discord, you can go to the live questions section and see if you can find a way to explain this, to how this might look if I was to imagine this place. What would it look like? Like, I would love to hear if anybody can explain it in a way I can understand.
What do you mean?
Like the consciousness realm, or
Yes,
like what?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and like, is it like, how do I imagine anywhere without without time being a thing? Like, that's a whole thing in itself.
Well, so that's the thing, is that it is a thing. It's just that it's relatively, in the moment when you're there, you feel like it's just now, but it feels like now doesn't mean what imagine if you could just travel through now and it's always now, but you could go backwards in now, and there's a nowness and an I-ness that maintains through the ego death. And as you start to peel away, what my experience was that reality peels away in layers like an onion, and eventually it sort of fades away, and then there's still when it's all gone, there's still a sense of yourself, and there is still a sense of space, sort of. It's like the place where you are, if you were to blindfold yourself and go in a sensory deprivation tank and just lay there and turn off all your senses, it's that type of a feeling. But then you get insights, and I think the insights have a lot to do with just turning off all of the other inputs. So the brain activity increases on psychedelics. It doesn't decrease. Everything seems to wire together much more. And then when you wake up from it and you come out of it, at least in my experience, and this is very unique. Everybody has their own subjective experience. I don't want to speak for others, but you come out fresh. When you're a kid, or like if you look at your kid, you watch your kid, and they're seeing the world with fresh eyes, and everything is just exciting and new and clean and green and wonderful for the first time. There is an aspect to the psychedelic experience that refreshes that sense when you come out of it. So it's like only part of the experience is being there, and then the other half of it you get when you come back. I don't know if that makes sense, but
yeah, my experience with one time on DMT was just, I feel like that it made me realize that every single thing in our world is aware. So like a laptop is aware of its own existence, that like places are living and alive. That was my feeling that I took away, is that everything has like an awareness to it. It's very, very weird. Very, very weird.
If you meditate, David Lynch describes it through transcendental meditation, which is something that I've never really done. I actually would like to take the actual training course and do it, but he spent the rest of his life doing it every single day until he died, and he died doing TM in a chair. I would assume that that's about as close as you can get without doing psychedelics.
I believe Howard Stern does it every day as well. I think he's a big TM guy.
A lot of really successful people, like Jerry Seinfeld is a big TM guy. He does lectures on it. He goes around, he talks just about TM and like how it blew his mind and changed his whole life. For David Lynch, it was all about, he had a real battle with depression and anxiety and just a lot of the types of anxieties that I think a lot of creative people deal with. And he, I think he had a real alcohol problem for a period of time. He said TM really kind of cured that in a sense. So I think there's a lot to it, but closer to home, I guess. I don't know if it's closer to home. What do you guys think about this paper passing peer review? Beatrice Villarreal and her team, their technosignatures in orbit.
Congrats to her. I think it's a huge addition to astronomy and to history and to science and to everything that we care about here. I think it's incredible. I mean, and people are still trying to shoot it down. I don't really know how you can do that at this point, but I think that what she has discovered and put out is truly astounding work that should be studied and talked about on all kinds of news media. It should be everywhere. I don't know how it's not everywhere.
I think what would be good would be to kind of. I would like to be walked through this in a little more context, because I know the phrase peer review. I know, other scientists have looked at it and concluded that it has some scientific merit or whatever, or enough scientific merit to not dismiss it. But I don't know if there's different levels of peer review. I don't know if the fact that if it made it through peer review, that it's been proven in any sense. I don't know. If you know, then great, please tell me. But I think the broader point is, even on the content of the paper, the fact that there may have been lights in orbit prior to human satellites, that's really cool to me. But it is just added to the list of other stuff that I don't understand. I can't really grasp the significance. It's 999 out of 1,000 things I don't understand in space. Whereas Beatrice has the actual ability to walk me through why this is so important. Mm-hmm. And I'd love to hear from her directly about it. I know she's done some.
She did a great
plenty of podcasts,
interview,
hasn't she? So.
She just did one with Ross 3 days ago.
That was great.
And it really was it's about 15 minutes long. It's worth watching about 5 minutes of it through here just for people to see, because she does answer that question.
Great.
But I think one of the biggest points that she makes in the fullness of the interview is that what's cool about what they've done is they've published all their data. It has been peer reviewed. It's published on nature.com. I've got the link up. I'm sharing the link right now. If you want to put it on the screen, you can go there and see the paper. And she says all the data that they're using is available. So anyone who wants to go check their work can go do it. Mm-hmm. And there's no, it's all data that's been archived. And, these are photos from pre-Sputnik. It's nothing new. So the fact that they found what she estimates, they did the math and they estimated between tens of thousands and 100,000 or more artificial objects in order to encircle the globe based on their distribution from what they can gather and their estimates. And we can go get them. We could go get one. I think about when you see those maps of, sometimes you'll see an ad for Space Force, a recruitment thing, or I don't know if you ever watched any of the videos on their websites, but they're there are exactly this many pieces of debris in space, and they show the number of how many tens of thousands of little pieces of junk, and Space Force knows where every single one of them is, down to the size of a pencil. And it's you can see them tracking every single thing in orbit. I wonder how long the government has been aware, or the national security apparatus has been aware, that these things have been up there. They probably already gotten one, recovered it. They probably already know what the fuck it is. You know what I'm saying? There's the fact that she just blew the doors off this. Now we can go ask questions okay, Space Force, do you not know about this because this group found out about it? I think it's huge.
Sure.
I know.
They've gotten them before. We've scooped them up before. For sure that they've known about it for 40, 50, 60 years. I mean, they have to. They have to have. No question.
Well, and I watched an interview, not an interview, but I watched Richard Dolan yesterday, a great clip from Richard Dolan, and he was talking about his assessment of what's going on, what the aliens are doing, what they're up to based on observations made so far. And he made this great point. He says, our military technology changes so much every 10 years. If you think about, from between the 40s to the 50s and the 50s to the 60s to the 70s to the 80s to the 90s, and today, just the capabilities have gone so far. They're probably constantly assessing what we can do because we're just moving so quickly. And that's probably something that's been going on for a long time. But as we've built that technology up and our whole defense superstructure around the world, we've militarized the entire globe. We've been tracking everything in orbit since we started putting things in orbit, right? We must have known. Our system has only gotten better, right? It's not. there's no, in other words, what I'm trying to say is there's no way they could say, we don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Like if we can see it with optical telescopes photographing from the ground, then that's kind of like, okay, we need some answers. You could go to Congress and you could say, well, what's up? You know, or you could go to NASA. I mean, there must be a logical line of inquiry that proceeds from those findings.
You would think.
These are my thoughts.
Yeah.
Thanks for coming to my TED Talk.
Mick West.
Oh, fuck that guy.
I think he's funny. I think he's charming in a way. He kind of fell out with everybody over all of this, I think.
Let me clarify on the Mick West.
I don't believe it.
Let me just clarify on the Mick West thing. I don't know Mick West. I've never met him, and I'm sure if I did, he would be a fantastic gentleman, and I would probably feel like a total asshole for having said that. I don't like people who are contrarian because it's just fun to be contrarian. Like, it's just like, well, I'm going to debunk everything because that's going to be my thing. And it's like, well, but you're not a subject matter expert in everything. So how can you debunk everything? You can't be the Swiss Army knife of,
Yet here we are,
technical
and here he
knowledge.
is.
Yeah. So anyway, this is my gripe.
So he said something. He said very specifically. I asked him directly about this paper when I interviewed him because Beatrice's paper had just come out. It wasn't peer reviewed, but it was available, and I'd read it as best I could. I tried to understand it, and I don't think Mick had read it at the time, but he was welcome to give an opinion on basically what a standard of evidence would be, and I did. I asked him if his eyebrows would be raised if it would get past peer review and all of that, and he did say his eyebrows would be raised, and he did say it wouldn't. He didn't see it happening. I don't know if he's shifted the goalposts or he's. I think on X he said peer review is peer review, but data is data, and
I think didn't he say independent replication is the gold standard.
Yeah, he basically shit on peer review. Now that she has it, he kind of took a step back and said peer review is not a
the goalpost. The goalposts are always moving with this guy.
Yeah.
I would like
extraordinary
to know...
claims require extraordinary evidence. Okay, here's some extraordinary evidence.
Yeah.
Well, it's not extraordinary enough. Well, okay.
Yep.
Well, fuck you then.
I would like to know...
what else do you want?
I would just like... And I'm sure there's probably an answer, and he's probably got an answer to this. What is the replicatable test you would like to do to prove that this happened in 1952? Like, I assume there is some sort of replicative test that we can do to prove that anything happened in the past. We need to be like photographic record, for example. If you wanted to use that would be a standard of evidence. That now that this paper's been peer reviewed and the data is essentially accepted in its current form, how do we now interpret that data for somebody like Mick West to be happy with the standard of evidence? That's a genuine question.
I think we should just not be in the business of satisfying Mick West because
that's
who
where
fucking
I'm at.
cares?
Yes.
Like, he's one guy and he doesn't buy any of it and he's never will. So who cares? Like, our job is I don't look at my career in this space as like I'm trying to convince the skeptics. I just look at it as this is all so strange and fascinating, and I want to be in a place of maximum intellectual curiosity with other people who are asking questions. People who just shut shit down. That's like Neil deGrasse Tyson being, like, that's just contrarian for the sake of it and staking out this sort of character online of like, I'm going to be the guy that's always putting myself in the conversation just to shit on everyone else's like speculation.
I think
conversely, you have a guy like Avi Loeb who's just going, look, I'm just of all the other things that it could be on everyone else's list, I'm going one step extra and just going, and it could be aliens, just adding that.
Yep.
And people are giving him a hard time for it.
Yeah. I'm actually of the opinion that we do actually need people like Mick West, because he is one end of the spectrum, and on the other end we do have the people that will take what Avi Loeb said and go out and buy supplies. Like, because they'll just say, well, Avi Loeb's from Harvard, and he said that there's an alien coming here, so I'm going to tell all my friends that there's aliens coming. I'm going to quit my job.
Mick West, but the problem is he will never be satisfied. He will always just be the disappointed dad for the rest of his life. You'll never get his satisfaction or his approval no matter what. So why try? Like Clint said, this is too exciting. There's too much awesome shit going on where we just got to walk past these people and pay them no mind. They can do their thing and speak into the ether, but
there are literally panels of naval Top Gun aviators, astronomers, physicists, biologists, real scientists who actually enjoy talking about this stuff and entertaining it and looking at what it really could or could not be. And they're having that discussion already. Like, that's happening. And it's weird that this guy who is not a pilot or an astronomer or a physicist or I don't know what Mick West's background training actually is, but he will override, you'll have David Fravor saying something about whatever he was doing when he was flying the fucking jet. And Mick West will be like, nah, it doesn't work like that. No,
he has a master's. He has a master's in being a dismissive prick, and I'm over it.
I just think, now the way to do it, there is a way to do it. And I think that critical thinking is important. You just come into it with an open mind and you just go, look, are we sure? What else could it be? Let's really think it through. Let's go through it. And you just do that. But this dismissiveness, it's an attitude or there's a flavor to it that just doesn't, it's toxic.
I personally wouldn't enjoy I just like thinking crazy thoughts every now and then. I have no problem with that and entertaining some. I'll go as far as necessary to convey some sort of strange meaning that only I can get on board with. I have no problem doing that.
I think, in the fullness of time, science will reveal these answers and whatever we're dealing with will become known. But, look at how far we've come in just the last few years. Professional skeptics have a place. I think it's important. They're like the antibodies in the immune system sort of working against infection. But if the immune system goes crazy, that's not good either. So you have to have this balance. And I think one thing that's really unique about the UFO UAP space is that inside this space, right? It's been part of my worldview that we are not alone for so long. I've just considered all of this just like a rational, normal way of reality being, like that there would be more than one type of intelligence. It's just part of who I am and how I see the world. But for the people who maybe aren't there and they're looking at it from the outside in, it might look kind of kooky. I can see that. But within the community, there are experts in every field, vigorously talking about all of these things, discussing it in depth, detailing the history of it, trying to understand what it is. There is a lot of activity. And it's in a good spirit, in a spirit of discovery, in a spirit of cooperation, which I think is really all we can hope for.
Yep.
Professional skeptics,
I also think that skeptics are fine, but I think that enough of us that are involved in this, I think, the three of us are pretty good at holding ourselves accountable, where if something seems too nuts or if someone's off base on something, I think we're, as a community, good at policing ourselves and, forgive the pun, but bring ourselves back to earth a little bit. You know what I mean? We're smart enough to know what makes sense, what doesn't, what's real, what's not, for the most part.
I think it's
until we find out definitively there are no aliens, in which case,
all seagulls.
It's been fun, guys.
Well, that's it, right? The burden of proof is not on the UFO community. The burden of proof is on you have to convince me that there's out of all the entire expanse of reality, as far as it stretches in any direction, this is it. It's just fucking Starbucks and TJ Maxx and fucking whatever's going on and Donald Trump and it's just that, and that's it. And that's the pinnacle of creation. It's as far as anyone ever got.
Societally, it is kind of on us to kind of provide proof, us and science and stuff like that, right? I would say.
it depends on what you're trying to do. I mean, if you're trying to convince the world, yeah. I mean, if you just accept that, yeah, there's no way we're alone, so I'm going to see some weird shit from time to time, and there probably won't ever be an answer on it. That's kind of where I live, right? Like, I just accept that weird stuff happens, and it's, you know, the reality, the fullness of reality is beyond the scope of our science. So a lot of things are possible. I just it's so fun. It's fun to speculate, you know.
It's so fun.
Speaking of which, alongside the Dan Sherman documentary, it was maybe synchronicity, but earlier that day, before I watched that documentary, I saw a Substack that was from June 2024, written by somebody who was going at the time by the name Martin. We now know that that was Jordan Jozak, who is a psionic asset for Skywatcher. And there are things that he said in that article that are eerie when you think about what Dan Sherman said.
Mm-hmm.
They're so consistent with what Dan said that I'm just kind of, he either read Dan's book, or which is possible, or there are some deeper connections here. They had very similar training, as in Dan had to basically stare at a screen and try and manipulate sine waves, I think it was. Jordan described something very similar. And then they both talk about time travel and timelines, and Jordan goes into this realm and potentially like seeds. This is the bit I don't understand. It's why I want to talk to him. This is the part that I can't visualize. He's sort of seeding information that could potentially influence future events in a way, whereas Dan was talking about receiving information related to the future, and I've sort of made in my head there's a connection there. It's like it feels like Jordan's experience was very much an evolution from Dan's experience within Project Preserve Destiny. In fact, Jordan mentions Project Preserve Destiny in his Substack.
I was going to ask if he said the words.
He said the words. He doesn't know what program name he was on, but he said it was very similar to Project Preserve Destiny. It was entirely, it took place entirely in his mind, however. So they don't use any, at least in Jordan's experience, they didn't use any additional equipment or anything like that. Once he was doing what he was doing, he was really going at it on his own, doing these sort of, it sounds so strange to talk about.
I've had two people in the last week and a half, pretty intelligent people whose opinions I trust, nudge me towards the Project Preserve Destiny being a legitimate thing, something to look at and pay attention to. So I am very much.
The whole FOIA thing that was requested, that was forwarded onto the NSA without prompt.
Yeah.
Like, what the
Yeah, if that didn't exist, they wouldn't know that to send it there or to find out it was NSA.
I wonder if they are. Did he talk about, either one of these guys talk about if they were communicating through time, communicating to someone in the future or the past?
I believe Dan had mentioned it. I think, I don't remember exactly.
Dan's specific words when he was talking with the NHI, he got the distinct impression that they were saying to him, they don't travel back in time, they don't travel forward in time, they just move around time, was his exact phrase in the interview itself. So, yes, in a way, they told him about future events as well.
That sounds like, this just sounds so creepy. It reminds me so much of this Dan Burrish thing that I'm looking at right now.
Yep. They
travel around time, and he says it's like you can go from the future of one timeline into the past of another timeline.
It's as simple as that, really.
It's really as simple as that.
Yeah, write that down.
Well, what I guess what I'm driving at is like it seems like consciousness is fundamental to the whole thing. Everyone who knows, who has experiences with deep meditation practice, psychedelics, whatever you use to access that realm, there is a timelessness to it. If consciousness exists as like a unified field beneath all things, and accessing that field gives you a workaround that you can send information back and forth through time, that would explain how some of these people are getting these downloads with predictions about future catastrophes, future events, like the binary stuff that gets transmitted, or these visions that people have. And I wonder if you are the national security agency and cryptography is the thing that you do, like you have the best cryptographers in the world, then if once you know that there is a mental realm, a consciousness realm, then you have got to immediately understand it, train up a core of people that can go there, that can operate there, that can communicate through it. You would want to know what it's capable of. So, like, as I'm hearing these guys tell their stories, it's starting to like stitch together in the back of my mind that maybe that's what we're really talking about here. Is maybe the time travel, from physically speaking, going from a place A to place B, is not necessarily what we're talking about. Maybe we're talking about sending information back and forth.
Yeah. I mean, in a sense, we know that there are parts of reality that literally don't adhere to regular linear time. We know electrons can literally, they seem to jump back in time. When we've observed it in like the double slit experiment and stuff, it at least appears as though they know what choice you're going to make, and thus an outcome will happen retrospectively before the decision has been made. That's probably a really horrible, bad way of describing the effect, but we know that that there are elements of reality that don't just move forwards in time. Like it's not that they're moving backwards either. It is just that it's kind of an irrelevant. It's just a nonsensical question to ask. Like, are you traveling back in time? Because they're not. They're, as Dan said, traveling around time is probably the best way to describe it at this point. For now, at least.
You just reminded me of that video that I sent you in the message. Has to do with new tech being put in place to arrest people before they commit future crimes.
Is this the thing you just sent me on Signal?
Yeah.
Oh, is
yeah,
this the
yeah.
Palantir?
I can play that shortly. I just need to put it somewhere.
we can get into it later, but it has to do with like being arrested for future crimes, like full on minority report stuff. So maybe there's stuff about time that hasn't figured out that we are not aware of yet. I don't know. I hate it.
It's just weird how it seems like every single story comes back to some kind of event, some kind of cataclysm, some type of enormous thing takes place, and we've got to be ready for it. Like isn't that weird for you guys? Like every time you find a new thread to chase down, if you go far enough, it ends with some guy just saying that. Like, yeah.
But no one says what it is. What is it? What is the thing? This is where I'm starting to get really pissed off. Like, what is the thing?
Eden, love you.
Love you, baby.
Oh, sorry. I didn't realize my camera. Well, my mic was on.
Dude, no, it's adorable. Now we know you're a good dad.
Sorry, everyone.
But what is the event? What is it? Why will no one say it? No one has said it.
Well, what did Chris say in that call, Xander? He was reading the translation and he said something about agents. He's like, agents are already in place or something. This is
a lot of stuff.
You don't do. He said a ton of stuff. We're talking about the binary transmission that was received by Pettis. What's his name?
So that one that he was referring to wasn't about Peniston's download. There was another guy who hasn't ever come forward. He went by the name CJ, I think. And yeah, his identity was never revealed. But essentially, he had like he had a download of, again, binary code. I think he was in a bathroom in a restaurant or something, and he wrote it down quickly. That was later translated, and yeah, it was again similar to Peniston and similar to what we see in some like crop circles, similar to what Dan said, similar to what the other Dan said, Burish, that there's something going to happen, and there's like a lot of them refer to like Orions and different species, and that's the part that I'm yet to really accept, is that there's, I mean, it makes sense that there's lots of factions, I guess.
But what is the thing? What is the fucking thing? What is the event?
If you're asking, I genuinely think that the event at this point is related to the sun.
Like a flare, or like the sun exploding, or the sun shutting off, or it moving?
I don't think the sun explodes, but Dan said something that's really stuck with me. Dan Sherman.
I might be able to help you guys on something here with some clarity, if you want.
That would be wonderful.
Have you just been hiding the truth the whole time?
Come on, Smart Bell, give it to us.
Hold on, I got to find the time stamp on this. 1:36:40. Let me dig this up. I'm going to share a clip.
By the way, did Jordan, was he recruited as a kid as well?
He was in the GATE program, the Gifted and Talented Education program. And if I remember correctly, he explains he was eventually sent to a special school. Hey, it's just Kid Central tonight. Look at us being cute.
Listen, if a kid wanders through my screen, call the police, because I'm in a hotel room. I shouldn't.
Whose kid is this?
Not mine.
I've got I've got a clip of Dan Burish talking about the Stargate. Was it? No, Looking Glass and Stargates. Looking Glass technology and Stargates alternate timelines. Do you want to take a look? Check this out.
Yes.
Hang on. Let me get my screen up here. All right, share this tab. Is this coming through?
There he is.
There we go.
Why is majestic in a place to know that this actually happens or doesn't happen? In other words, you've got the Looking Glass technology that they use and you use, and you're instrumental in discovering. Were you in?
No. This is an original technology which was derived from ancient cylinder seals by people from our future who provided it to us, meaning the Rhodes, the P-45s.
Okay, the people from our negative future.
That's right. We wouldn't have this lovely technology if it wasn't planted in our past for us to use now. The entirety of the technology must either be disabled or destroyed.
In other words, to unmake the technology.
Until at least after we pass through this time period. There is no way, from the deceit, the conceit, the avarice, and the greed that I have been around over the last 20 years amongst the good side of these two dirty coins. There is no way that they're not going to start this equipment back up again if it's usable after this. Of course they're going to. Come on. I mean, they've got this, it's like a magic box to try to see into the future. What they're going to do with our future with regard to that, I've got no clue. I have no power over it, and I have no clue.
Okay, so this Looking Glass technology comes from cylinder seals.
Originally, yes.
How?
Originally, it was a series of instructions for accessing the wormholes which naturally pass in the hyperspace in which we find ourselves. And from there, they worked on the technology. They built the equipment from the instructions. After building the equipment from the instructions, they began to tweak it and find different things out about it. One of the things that they found is that they could actually use it as a peering portal, like a peering glass, if you will, to see different aspects of not only the future but the past.
Are these Sumerian?
I would say that they slightly predate Sumerian time frame, but that some of the information which came down from cylinder seals that slightly predated the Sumerian time frame were then recopied in Sumerian seals as well. And those cylinder seals, oh yes, and those cylinder seals, to the best of my knowledge, have all been obtained.
From Iraq?
Some of them from Iraq, yes.
Some of them from Egypt?
Some of them from Egypt, some of them from other countries where they were being stored.
Now, I've never been accused of being the smartest guy in the room, but what is a cylinder seal?
I imagine it was one of those sort of scroll containers. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong.
Okay.
That might have been it.
If you go on,
I bet
you
there's
just
actually
Google
probably
it.
like
There's
a stone
tons of
tablet looking
pictures.
thing.
Here you go.
Let's see. I was way off.
Small round cylinder, typically 1 inch in width, engraved with written characters or figurative scenes, or both, used in ancient times to roll an impression onto a 2-dimensional surface.
Oh, it's like a stamp, kind of. It's a stamp.
It's a stamp. It's a clay stamp.
Cool. Okay. All right.
So, yeah.
By the way, how funny is it when you think of how crazy Dan Burris sounds? If you just listen to his words and imagine playing that for your dad and being like, "Dad, check this guy out.
Check this guy.
Check it out, Dad. This is what's going on in the world."
This is what I talk about every Friday.
This is what he'd be like. You do this for a job? This is your job. You could make money doing this? No,
kind of.
No,
I haven't figured that out. That's the part I haven't figured out.
That's as
lose money
as time travel itself.
Yeah.
Look, I can't say that Dan Burrish is for real, but what I can say is that, like, this is a guy who crossed so far. I've watched like 6-8 hours of interviews with this guy, and he just sits there and fucking answers questions like this. Just on and on and on.
Yep.
And it's like, if you're making this up, dude, you're the most imaginative guy who never wrote a book, never made a movie, and then he disappeared.
You gotta find him.
And
I want to find this guy.
Think about it as well, like that. These aren't even the wildest parts of his claims. That's
that part of the interview is
scary bit.
Is literally him just going, and I don't know how the fuck they do all this. Like, he's just like, and this is what's going on, and I don't even know. I'm just trying to make sense of what I'm doing, and I've got this J-Rod, and I've got this thing, and it's just like, he's ready to walk away from the whole thing. And by the end, he basically, I guess, did his interviews, and then he just bailed. He was like, I said my piece, I'm out. He's not out there trying to capitalize on it. He's not doing if it weren't for all of the other stuff that people were saying, like, Sherman and Jozak lately, the telepathy tapes,
Sylvia,
the looking glass technology, all of these things. I mean, maybe we're looking at, just echoes of the same bullshit stories that have just been told again and again and again over all these years. But
I doubt it.
It just doesn't feel like that's what's going on.
Like what? Yeah. Why would people keep every 5, 10, 15 years come up with some new version of the same bullshit story for what? Like, you're not going to get on Oprah anymore. You know what I mean? It just, there's no reason for it.
Well, let me ask you, let me just go a different direction totally for a second. Let's just sidestep UFOs completely. How do you guys feel about, like, does it feel like reality has gotten weirder, or is it just me? You know what I'm saying? Like, I know we talk about this all the time, but like, what's your internal?
Who's the guy? Who's the guy that said life's going to get weirder and weirder? Terrence McKenna.
Terrence McKenna.
So I think he was totally right. I really feel more confused in life than ever. I feel more disconnected from everything than I ever have before, but weirdly closer with like certain friends and family. But as far as the rest of the world, I feel like I'm drifting away from what I thought reality was. And I feel that every single day. If I'm being completely honest, I feel very confused and just weirded out with like what the fuck is going on
and
every
like,
day.
Can you explain that a little more? Like, what does that feel like when you're actually going through it? Like, you're walking around and you're looking at the mall, and then what?
Yes. Yeah, I mean, I'm on tour. So like on days off, I'm walking around I'm in a truly foreign place. I'm only surrounded by strangers, and walking around and being like, okay, we're all connected somehow, but we're also really, really far apart on so many things. I'm like, are you guys thinking about this stuff too? Are you guys aware of this comet that's being claimed to not be a comet that might destroy Earth? Is anyone thinking about that? Is anyone else worried about like the surveillance state of the world? Like, I don't know. I just feel maybe I'm too aware. I wish I want to go back to being more oblivious, but it's too exciting and too real, and I think too important to kind of ignore. Well, but I feel distant and confused lately.
Just what about you, I'm right there with you, Dan. Like, I have an episode coming out tonight, Dreamland Motel, as normal at 10 p.m. I say the Terence McKenna quote in it.
Oh, perfect. Yeah.
I have no alternative at this point. The question that he poses is, what the fuck is going on?
Like,
that's it.
For real. I used to sit in front of my television set, and I used to like watch like when I was a kid, the commercial for Time Life Books, Mysteries of the Unknown, because I waited for the UFO one to come on, and like that was it. That was my only exposure to UFOs for like a month, and then I would see it again. And just in September, we're sitting in the Capitol building at the congressional hearing, and we're watching it happen. We're watching this testimony actually go on public record. We're in the room. It's like then you're just talking to these people. You walk outside, and it's like now you're in it. You're not only you're not only like observing it in the weirdness, but you're participating in it too.
Yeah.
It's like surfing the wave. It's really weird.
And that part I actually love. Like I've told it before, but I've had a very weird year, just a tough year, losing a job I had for 17 years and losing my dad and just the state of the world. And I remember telling my wife, close to a year ago, like, I'm going to allow myself to have some very strange adventures. And, but I need you to know that like, I'll be back, but like, I'm going to let my life get very, very strange. So I'm enjoying that, but it is, I'm kind of like drifting a bit.
Do you feel
I don't mind it.
Is the drift because of just the life events, or is the drift more of like a long, do you see that happening across everyone? Are we all drifting?
I think so. Cause I think all of our worlds were so like, I sound like my dad, but like, social media is weirdly making us less social, obviously. Relationships are changing. People you've known your whole life, maybe it gets a little bit more awkward to be in person nowadays because people are less and less together. I don't know. It's it feels like we're all going through it together, but just taking different routes. And
I feel like just the pace of change, both technologically and socially, has now gotten so quick that it's disorientingly fast, and it's hard to just find any, like, I can't find myself ever really comfortable, like with an idea of the future where I can go, yeah, things are going to get good. They're going to get better. They're going to get like really, maybe in 10 years, things are going to be great. I just can't really like see that.
I don't think that. Yeah.
And that's weird.
Yep.
I just feel like I can only look forward 1 year at a time. And I'm like, well, what emergencies are waiting for me next year? What's the next fucking gigantic fucking disaster that's going to fall out of the sky?
Where's the Doom Friday stinger? Where is it?
Well, not to do the Doomer. I have my Doomer, my Doomer Friday sign, and I've got my Doomer Friday. I've got my Dreamland Motel.
That stuff's awesome, man.
Coaster, and my others from Another Mother patch, which I have to put on my shot jacket.
Hell yeah, dude!
Got all my gear right here, guys. But I guess like it's not a doomer thing, but it's like a generational thing. I mean, we are in that part of the curve now where things, Ray Kurzweil talked about it way back when. He was like, things are going to get crazy right around the early 2020s, right? by 2035 things are going to go fucking wild, and by 2050 you better hold on to your ass because things are going to go so far out of whack you won't know what you're fucking doing. And I think that's where we are. I think we're on that exponential curve, and we're watching it happen all around us. Like, what was that? There was just an article where this was just yesterday or the day before, where Amazon said they were going to replace 600,000 jobs with robots. Yeah, that was an internal document that they had. Their internal target was to displace that many jobs.
Yep. Yeah.
We're living in a world where, like, you're looking out at your future, especially if you've got, like, 20, 30, 40 years to look out ahead. You're like, how am I going to fucking survive? Like, what are we going to do? How is this all going to work? That anxiety sort of permeates everything, I feel like.
At least for the time being, and I'm wondering if you guys are the same as this. Like, we have these conversations once a week, sometimes twice if we catch like some midweek.
We're doing
time
great
or whatever.
Extra doom.
When these conversations are over, the world is still relatively, like, my supermarket's still open. The gas station still sells gas. So
yeah.
As much as I agree with you in the fact that I'm not necessarily planning for my retirement right now, I'm trying not to fall off the cliff, because I could right now. I could say we're all done in 2 years, or at least life is going to be dramatically different to the point where I don't have to worry about everyday life right now. I can let go, and I think it's important that this stuff should still be tempered with fantasize about it and talk about it and prepare in a sense mentally, but this is you got to be careful not to
fall down the doom hole.
Don't lose hope and forget
to
go to work, kind of thing. Like,
I think that's not. No. You're absolutely right. I think what I'm talking about is more of like a
mentally, I'm with you, by the way, 100%.
We're talking about the sort of cognitive dissonance, this sort of breakdown between all of the news inputs that we're getting, which are like really weird and crazy and increasingly strange, and then you have the day-to-day world of normal everyday life and our normal everyday concerns, where 99% of the action really is right in your regular day-to-day life. Things are not like that, right? Mm-hmm. So it's like I find it helpful that's why I maintain a healthy distance on weekends. I'm not really engaged a lot with social media. I'm not doing a ton of things. I try to do that. But I also think about I think about it from the perspective of, my kid and those things. And so I wonder, how do you, there's a part of you that's always trying to think 2-3 years out, like what happens if I need to do something. And I think that's hyper stimulated from all of just the crazy news cycle, the social media, the way algorithms sort of manipulate us. I think the stresses that we're talking about are brought on by that. Your nervous system is not designed to be constantly under tension all the fucking time.
Yeah, I can't imagine going through modern day with children. I must add a whole new layer. I mean, really, a whole different. I have nieces and nephews, but it's different.
It's like there's it's wonderful and it's lovely and it's the source of all of my happiness and joy. But at the same time, I'm experiencing it now as like that weird moment when my kid will ask me something and I have to think about how exactly I'm going to phrase this for a 4-year-old. And sometimes there's like uncomfortable truths that I can't talk about. I'm not ready to, we just can't get there yet because you're not old enough. And it just like, I didn't expect it to be like that. That was something I wasn't really ready for. It's like just having to filter reality and try to create a little bubble but still be realistic. And I don't know, Xander, what do you think?
It does make, I'll admit, like these sort of conversations, and I'm sure you guys are the same, it does make me do my shopping differently. Like when I'm walking around the supermarket and You can
more
eavesdrop.
booze.
Yeah, no, I don't buy different things. I mean, like you can see the stress on people's faces because there's no chickens left, like on the chicken aisle, and it's like, that's what they're worrying about, and I feel like for lack of a better word, a dick for thinking that about them, because like I should sympathize. Like those little things are still important. Like the little first world problems that we all experience are still incredibly important. But when in the context of conversations like the ones we have, it's difficult to not let that seep into. That's what I was trying to say earlier. Trying to not let this seep into everyday life purely from a functional standpoint. It's very difficult to experience like the weekly grocery shop and be so cynical about everything and like, oh, they don't know and stuff like that. And it's like, that's not fair on anybody else, really.
I don't like to do that. And I have made great strides to become less, towards becoming less anxious about all this stuff. I think that the anxieties are more like, I felt like when I was young and I was sort of coming up, I felt like I was riding the technology wave in a way that felt very natural, and everything was getting better, and it was like I had a handle on it. And now I feel like I'm just disoriented a lot by how much things are changing and how quickly. And I guess that's a generational thing that everybody goes through. But yeah, like to your point, it is weird. It's like jarring because you go from being aware of all that, and then you come back to your normal life and you just focus on the people around you, and that's the healing thing. That's the best place to be.
Yep.
But I do find all this fascinating. Like I love robotics. I love science fiction. I love the fact that I'm living in a world now where I can talk to my fucking watch and I can make a phone call on my watch. Like, I think that's awesome. I grew up watching movies where that was like the coolest thing ever. We have real robots now that can actually do real robot stuff. Like we have AI. These are all the things that when you're 9, you think, wow, the world's going to be so much better. And then when you get them, it's like, well, still got to figure out, how I'm going to pay the bills, and all the other problems are still there. I think there's a little bit of like the flying cars disappointment, right? Like this idea of what the future should be or could have been or might be, and what you're seeing unfold around you. It's like, it's not lining up, and you're like, man.
Yeah, we got the Biff alter world of Back to the Future 2. Yeah, when Biff wins. I wonder what kids nowadays, like when we were kids, we were fantasizing about, having a phone that we could talk to somebody on and see their face. Like I remember FaceTime for me was the first time where I was like, oh, the future is now. The future happened. I lived through the future.
I remember watching
when I was a kid.
RoboCop in the theater, and the guy, they're like, how do we track him? And the guy holds up that little box and he's like, with this, and it's got one little blinking light on it. And I'm like, that's so fucking cool.
GPS. And now we all have it.
Right.
Like, what do kids nowadays, what do they imagine the future to be like? Us, it was all tech stuff and robots, which we have. What are they thinking about? Oh
man, if you're in the chat and you can answer that question, I would love to know the answer.
Yeah, if you're 8 years old and in the chat for some reason, let us know what you are thinking about for the future.
If you're 8 years old and in the chat, you need to go to bed. And you need
cool
to put
parents.
This is not a conversation for you.
I gotta grab a computer charger. I'll be right back.
Sure.
Yeah,
I used to. Back when I was in school. Before I did, like, I was probably like 13 or so, color phones were starting to become a thing. And I remember the rich kid had his, I think it was a Nokia 3510i, and I was like, that's the future right there. and then I started, like, I was like, well, when I'm older, I'll be able to watch TV on my phone and stuff, and it'll be great. I'll be able to watch TV on my phone. Now I can't get to sleep without watching something on my phone. So that's the future I'm in.
We had these commercials in the 90s. You remember these, Dan? It was Tom Selleck would be like, it was like an AT&T commercial. They were directed by, what's his name? The guy who did Fight Club. And
Fincher.
And they were like, the future, what it's going to be like. And it's all of the things that, you know, we wound up having, but it was like in 1993, none of that shit existed. Like the guy talking to his watch, all this stuff. And the you will ads, that's what they were called. And I think the phone that used to blow my mind was the Matrix phone, because they hit the button and then the Matrix phone just went like a switchblade and it kind of like popped open. And I thought, oh, this is the coolest thing ever. And
there was the flip phone in the first Tomb Raider with Angelina Jolie. It was like a Motorola Razor. It was like the first Motorola Razor, and I wanted that so badly. I think because Angelina Jolie was holding.
Yeah,
it.
Sure.
I think that's the weird thing is like watching, you know, from the vantage point of someone back then looking towards the future. I guess there's no way of really seeing this, but like seeing how few tech companies really run everything. I think that's kind of weirdly disappointing. I feel like, I don't know. Does your idea of what 2025 actually would be like different than the reality, you know, 10, 15, 20 years ago? Did you have a different picture?
Yes. I mean, especially living in the United States, I a completely different idea of what like now would be like. For obvious reasons, we don't need to get into it, but like, yeah, I'm in complete shock and awe with the reality.
For me, the world is pretty much what I thought it would be. The one thing I am slightly worried about is I used to fantasize about that cool phone back when I was 12, 13 years old. That was all I wanted back then. That's all I really had to worry about, was getting a phone like that. And it was the age where kids were starting to get phones. I was probably part of that first generation where if you were a kid, you could have a phone.
I can't imagine that.
I think, well, the age is even lower now. Like it's like 6 and 7 year olds are getting phones at this point.
Oh man, I don't know.
They're at least getting iPads. But I'm like, what do I want more than anything in the world? Like, aside from wonderful family stuff to happen, I'm always thinking, like, what's the best case scenario? The best case scenario is one day I'm standing on the deck of a cool spaceship looking at something like a black hole or a nebula or something like that, and I'm seeing it with my own eyes rather than seeing this huge long exposure from Hubble, which is also incredible, but I want to see that stuff with my own eyes. And I'm wondering, like, the whole fantasizing about phones was kind of a letdown in the end. But is the most majestic view in the universe also a bit of a letdown? Like, when you actually get there, I don't know.
Dude, you know what the reality is? This is what I think is what's so fucked up. You just said it, right? Like, was it you? You were saying this to Chris in that call about the Jeff Bezos, Bill Shatner thing.
Yeah.
You had it. That's it. There's two different people having two totally different realities right there. Like, Bill Shatner is in tears. He's like, this is the most amazing moment of my life. You've changed my whole world. Bezos can't be bothered. He's like, I don't give a shit. I really don't care. Like, it just doesn't. It's subjective.
Should I try and find that clip because it will make people sufficiently angry. It will really kick off Doomer.
I think anything that shows people who Jeff Bezos really is good.
I'll try and find it. Yeah, I think it's become a video. It's become a thing.
I've not seen this. I'm excited.
You've not seen this?
You've never seen it?
Oh, my word.
No.
Dude.
So sad.
Oh,
it made me angry.
It's a Shatner in
space. It made me extremely angry. I watched this live as it happened, actually, and I remember thinking to myself, that's just so sad. But yeah, here you go, Dan. Sorry, you're about to be sad.
I already am.
Oh, I've put this on. Sorry, give me 2 seconds. I've opened it on the wrong. I'm on the wrong timeline right now. There we go. It's coming. Right. Here we go.
Here we go.
So yeah, this is back when. This is back when Shatner was one of the first people to go up in. Is it Blue Origin? It's called.
Yeah, they just got back. They just landed, and then they turn on the cameras, and this is everybody reacting to just having been in space. And he's going to go up and tell Jeff Bezos directly what he thought of his experience, and then you watch Jeff's reaction.
Not only is it different than what you thought.
Sorry, this is as loud as this goes. So apologies if it's not that loud.
Cool.
But just listen closely.
Not only is it different than what you thought, it happens so quickly. You know what the impression I had that I never expected to have is you're shooting up. And this new sky.
Come here. I want one.
Oh.
I want to hear this. Here. You want a little of this?
William Shatner doesn't drink, by the way.
See, this is what I'm talking about, right?
This is so disconnected from
How many fucking engineers, how many scientists, how many astronauts went to school and became what they became because they watched Star Trek? Like, one of these two men is actually responsible for creating a generation or generations of people that want to go to space and will actually spend the rest of their lives doing that. And the other guy is an asshole billionaire who is like, you know, like, who would you rather, you know, is this really the best we can do with our highest, like, I don't know, aspirations?
In fairness, in defense of Bezos, I don't think this was his first trip. So maybe the allure has already worn off for him.
No, but you have Captain Kirk standing in front of you about to give a quote that it could have been one of those quotes for all of history that we would have been, you know, it could have been amazing. He's like, hold on a minute, give me that champagne from some fucking broad. It's like, what is this?
He was undergoing ontological shock, I think. Like, he was
moved. I mean, he was
realizing like an 80-year long dream. And then he got sprayed with champagne after he was ignored.
Like, it's heartbreaking because it's like that sums it up, right? Like, there's like my whole childhood of looking to the stars and looking at science fiction and feeling like deeply inspired and drawn to this and to dream about the possibilities of the future. And, you know, to the point of just it's who I am. And then you see like a symbol of that, you know, Bill Shatner is a symbol of that in the best possible way. And to see him just get, you know, kind of treated like shit by an actual billionaire who just owns his own private space company, I just think that's kind of, that feeling is icky. And that's kind of how
very icky. Good word.
It's just an icky feeling.
That sucked.
I'm with you. You should have gotten a quote from him.
When are you gonna have a moment again in history to get Captain Kirk's immediate reaction to being in space? That happens once, and he got bubbly in his chin. Like, what, this is, you know.
So William Shatner, he's not stopping with going to space either. I think he's doing some sort of, or he may have already done it at this point. The guy went to the South Pole as well.
Oh,
like on a huge expedition. How old is he now?
He's almost, he's in his late 80s, early 90s, right?
That's incredible.
I think he is in his 90s.
I asked him if he'd do an interview once, and they were very polite.
94.
Actually,
94.
He's 94. Oh, my word.
And Patrick Stewart is 85.
And they're both just so hot.
I'd switch.
There's the Doomer Friday.
There it is. That's the Doomer Friday spirit. Well, hey, let's while we're talking about space, let's go over to 3i Atlas, because there's a bunch of stuff going on with 3i Atlas, and
why can't we get away from this? It won't go away.
It keeps coming. It's just like on an intercept course. Here we go. I've got a link here.
This is from the debrief. Downgraded as well.
Downgraded.
Yeah.
To a 2? Is that right?
Yeah, from like a 6 or a 4 to a 2, something like that.
By the way, Xander, the Dreamland Hotel neon sign on your video looks so good.
Thanks.
It looks awesome.
I need a better camera, but yeah, I'm really pleased with it. Really pleased with it.
Really nice. What's the latest with this thing?
Well, the latest is this article on Debrief, Micah Hanks, October 23rd. Warning networks campaign to target 3i Atlas sparks theories about secret planetary defense effort. And basically, I mean, I'll read the first paragraph here. Let's see, where is it? The International Asteroid Warning Network, IAWN, announced a new campaign that will target 3I Atlas, the unusual interstellar comet that was first detected in our solar system back in July. The campaign, which will begin in late November and run through January 2027, or January 27th, 2026, is focused on improving the collection of accurate astrometry of comets, according to an editorial notice issued in an electronic circular issued by the Minor Planet Center on October 21. So basically, they're talking about this. This is the actual International
on this earlier.
Asteroid Warning Network, and I guess it's a way of basically turning all of these different civilian observatories and different people onto observing this one particular thing as it's passing through.
Is this like a test? Like they're testing something out on 3i Atlas, or they're genuinely like worried about it? I don't know.
What I understand is that they're basically trying to gather more information to suss out why there are so many weird anomalies with it. Like there's just things that are not aligning with what their models say that they should be. And so the idea is that as it's passing through, if we just get more eyeballs on it, we'll get more data. And, that's our opportunity to answer some of these questions. But there's been this speculation online about whether or not that is basically a signal that there's something really weird about to happen, and they expect it to do something really strange when it emerges from behind the sun.
Now, there was a report about 7 or 8 hours ago, at least today, that right before it went behind the sun, it actually did change trajectory for the first time. I know we've heard this claim a bunch, but it sounds like there's another claim as of a few hours ago that it changed trajectory and was like 15 minutes off course of where they expected it to be, which I guess in comet time or comet whatever, that's a significant change. Being 15 minutes off course is huge. So somehow it either slowed down or something.
Yeah. So I see some people. Somebody in the chat said, I doubt we have a planetary defense system. I don't think we do have a planetary defense. I'm just saying that that's the headline that they used in that debrief article.
I think
you don't think we do?
I don't
think we do.
I don't think that we control it.
I think there is one. I don't think we control it. I think it's
there you go.
The Sphere Network. This is really messing with me right now. This is like,
what's that? What book is that?
The Sphere Network. Patrick Jackson is a guy who he wrote this book called The Sphere Network. He did an interview with Chris Ramsey. It's really good.
Yep. Yeah. I know who he is. I didn't know he wrote a book. Cool.
Oh yeah.
I spoke to him before Washington. He might be. I haven't managed to catch up with him yet, just because we've just been. Well, I was on vacation for a lot of last month, but he's based in the UK, so. And yeah, I have a connection with him now, so he might be willing to come on the show at some point, which would be cool.
Says there is a planetary defense network and it's on all the fucking time. And he's like, actually, when you realize how on it is, it's kind of scary. And then he goes, and we're part of that defense network. The humans on the surface are actually a part of this thing. And like anything that makes it through the Sphere Network, right, and makes it to the surface has to deal with us. And the people who are running this thing are subterranean. That's his conjecture. That's his, I don't know. That's his
idea.
That's cool as hell.
Ultra-terrestrials that went below the surface, and they don't want anything to do with us, really. They're not really interested in us.
Wait, these are non-human. These are non-human.
These are just a different group of intelligences that are underground. I don't think he goes into whether they're alien or if they're from here. He just says, just think of another group that's underground that has way better technology than we do. And they know that the dark forest hypothesis is really what's going on. Like, it's a dangerous universe out there. So their answer is to go underground, be quiet, have a defense network of these spheres that basically intercept threats and destroy them. And it's us on the surface that are making our presence known to everything else out there by sending radio waves and doing everything, setting off atomic bombs. And apparently, according to Jackson, that there's stuff coming to Earth all the time. And this defense network engages that shit and blows it up. And he did, on the interview with Chris Ramsey, he shows pictures of some of this stuff, and it's pretty wild. Like, the spheres We're talking about these metallic spheres, right? These like metal balls, like the Coffee Bum in our Discord has one, and or the
Bugospheres.
Not the Bugosphere is I think is a fake. I don't think, but same idea. Metallic spheres, right? Those the kind we're all thinking of. There are different versions of that. That's like a model, and there's like a larger one. There's like type 1, type 2, type 3. I'm still working my way through the book, but they communicate in a network. They form like this web, and they are constantly monitoring and adapting to the situation on the ground and reacting to things. And one of the things they can do is go basically like active camouflage. So a metal sphere will vanish, and then it can pass through a wall. And the person inside the room, when that thing goes through the wall, they think they just saw a ghost, but it's not. It's this thing that's just passing through, and it can even knock things over or make noise. And that's one of the ways that it corrals people. It'll get people away from an area. It'll use some kind of, poltergeist activity. He says that's spheres. And this is part of a system that's been in place to basically, like, imagine Earth, the surface is like Jurassic Park, and we are the dinosaurs. And the sphere network is the fence.
Jesus Christ. It's a lot.
And every once in a while, a goat comes down. So we are the militarized, violent apes on the surface that kill anything that makes it through the defense grid and gets to us. That's my understanding.
In other 3i Atlas news, I don't know if you've seen this. There was a YouTuber called Stefan Burns. He's not a alien guy. He's like what does he call himself? He looks at a lot of shit in the sky, basically. He's basically an astronomer, like a science communicator kind of guy.
Is he one of these guys who sees the weird shit on the moon, like coming in and out of craters and stuff?
I don't think he's even that. I don't think he's even that strange. He says he covers solar activity, space weather, planetary alignments, geophysical energy events, and so on. So I don't think he's particularly UFO centered. He says he believes it helps in the spiritual and consciousness evolution journey, whatever that means, but I'm all for it. He predicted that and I don't know the science behind this, he predicted that as the comet, or whatever it is, 3i Atlas, the object moved through the inner solar system, it would affect sort of the electromagnetic interactions between planets and the sun, and that would cause the sun to produce a CME, a coronal mass ejection. And he was right. He predicted it. And in 3 days' time, as 3i Atlas is sort of heading its way around the sun and it disappears and all of that, and I think this is probably going to be at its closest point or something, it's going to be hit by a pretty big CME. I'll share the post quickly and we can read it, but I thought that was fascinating that he literally predicted it.
3i Atlas will be hit with a solar flare?
Yeah. And it's not the first time it's actually been hit. It will have been hit.
That'll be interesting to see.
Let's see here. I'll admit I don't understand this, but
is that something that is powerful enough to change the trajectory of something that huge?
I don't think so. I don't think a CME interacts in that way.
Okay.
I could be wrong on that. Happy to be proven wrong on that. It might, I don't know, cause... Effectively, it's going to interfere anything electromagnetic, any sort of metals within any sort of magnetism within the object, I guess. I would imagine has the ability to be affected in some way.
Nickel is not magnetic, right?
I have no idea.
I don't think it is.
Iron.
It's mostly nickel. Iron is, but this thing is not iron.
Okay. When you're done, I've got a clip of Avi Loeb talking about this too.
So yeah, he said, and I quote, "Boom shakalaka." Huge CME launched from the sun's far side, directly towards 3i Atlas in superior conjunction with the sun as of today, and that was on the 21st, so 3 days ago. And the halo CME is skewed in the direction that 3i Atlas is shooting towards, and it will hit 3i Atlas on the 29th, just before its perihelion, which is the slingshot basically around the sun.
So when it slingshots around the sun and starts coming towards us, my understanding is if it's going significantly faster than or slowing down, then we have a problem, right?
I think the concern is if it goes slower, it's a little bit more nerve-wracking. I think.
Let's look at this clip. Here's Avi on News Nation yesterday. He's got a couple minutes of talking about the Black Swan event here. Let me see if I can.
The Black Swan event is just like a once-in-a-lifetime crazy.
Joins us now. He's the head of the Galileo Project, director of Harvard University's Institute for Theory and Computation, and author of the book Extraterrestrial. Okay, Avi, we've had you on so many times. I always love talking to you about this. Any more of a clue as to what this thing is or is not?
Well, we are still waiting for NASA to release an image, the highest resolution image with 30 kilometers per pixel that was obtained on October 2nd by the HiRISE camera on board the Mars Reconnaissance Orbiter. We are seeing the anti-tail that was pointed towards the sun, opposite to what we see in the context of comets, and now changing direction and going away from the sun, the more conventional way. We don't know what the reason is. And as you pointed out, we see some unusual composition of nickel with very little iron that we only find in industrially produced nickel alloys. And the size of the object, it's at least 1,000 times more massive than the previous interstellar objects we've seen. And the question is, why is such a giant object delivered to our inner solar system when we saw only small ones before? And it comes along the plane of the planets around the sun, and it comes close to Mars, Jupiter, and we just have to monitor it. And gladly, yesterday, the International Asteroid Warning organization network decided to have a campaign starting on November 27th until January 27th, where it will coordinate using all the assets we have on Earth and in space to get as much data as possible about this mysterious object. And, that would be a great blessing, irrespective of whether it's natural or technological. But if it happens to do a maneuver when it comes close to the sun, the way spacecraft do, using gravitational assist from the sun, that would definitely affect the markets, the financial markets, and politics on Earth.
Why? Because everybody will suddenly feel like, uh-oh, we've just been invaded? I mean, because if it does a maneuver around the sun,
it'll arrest the news cycle.
It's not a natural object, right?
Yes, it will be a technological signature, but it could be also a mothership that releases mini probes that maneuver. And so I tasked the research team of the Galileo project. We have 3 observatories monitoring the sky to check for any unusual activity in the coming months. We have also orbiters around Mars that could check for unusual activity there. So I think we should keep our eyes open and not assume anything, because it could be a black swan event where something that looks natural at first ends up being like a Trojan horse, and because the implications are so huge for humanity, we must consider it seriously.
And you just
He's
put an
all in,
article
huh?
at it, like literally
All
just
in.
posted a few minutes ago.
Surprising.
I wonder, the last line of this article, you write, 3i Atlas will get closest to Earth on December 19th, 2025. Here's hoping that by then we will know more about our dating partner in this interstellar blind date.
I wonder if we will know more.
Are you the only person? Are there other people who are sharing your concern about what this object is and about the possibility that it could be something that is not natural?
Oh, definitely. There is a huge amount of interest. I was just invited to Washington, D.C. to speak with Congress people and others. I'm speaking with Joe Rogan in a couple of days on his podcast. There is a lot of
That was the goal.
people who really want to learn more about it. There is also misinformation, of course, but the beauty of science is that we should be guided by data. And this is an excellent opportunity also to attract young people to science because it's exciting. And the implications of the findings that we will have in the coming months could be very significant, and we should do the same for future objects of this nature.
Yeah, Joe Rogan.
And I should say one more
really
thing.
big into space, and
I mean, I should say one thing about blind dates. You know, you often assume that the partner, the dating partner, would be very friendly, but you have to worry about the serial killers as well.
Oh God! Jesus Christ, Avi. Jinx.
Wow. Oh, that's a weird feeling to walk away with.
Why is he talking about it as if it was like a blind date?
And a serial killer. I mean, three-eyed Ted Bundy over here. It's crazy. Have you guys seen the movie Melancholia from like 2010, 2011 with Kirsten Dunst?
No.
Where there's a planet that's on a path with Earth, and things start getting very weird on Earth, and people start getting these kind of like strange powers. But like, it's a world-ending event, and everyone kind of coming to terms with this. It's a Lars von Trier movie. It's very strange, but might be worth revisiting.
I miss Nibiru. Like, where's
Nibiru
old
school?
That was old school. I miss the Anunnaki. I need to do
Planet X.
Let's bring back the Anunnaki.
Henry Deacon.
Let's popularize that.
Real quick before we move on, I want to show you guys this clip of Jeremy responding to this Avi Loeb thing, because this was a thing. Pavel just put out a video on this.
Have you heard of this guy, Dan?
No.
You don't know this guy?
Is that George Knapp's kid?
Yeah.
George. They're always together. So he just clarified this statement about, we've talked about it here, about this thing, you're going to hear a big lie about an alien craft coming to our solar system. Here's Jeremy, I think, explaining that comment.
Everybody else. The trend I'm realizing, our friend in the disclosure movement, Avi Loeb, he talks about these unique characteristics, and he's not wrong about that, but it is a consensus of one. I don't see a bunch of other astrophysicists and people working on this stuff really echoing that same sentiment. I do love his open-mindedness, and he knows far better than me, and he's, investigating the unexplained, not explaining the uninvestigated. So I've got a lot of happiness and joy for the way that he's looking at this problem set. But I will stand firm in that I said in January, and I actually said it earlier, but it was, I think it was played in January, that there was something coming, that people were going to try to convince the public at large that there was a spacecraft slowly moving to Earth. And that didn't come out of thin air. That wasn't just something I made up before I sat down. That came from years of people trying to impose upon me something to use my mouth, that there was this threat coming, that there's a 1970s document that I believe to be classified for sure. And, I don't have the ability to get that out to people, but it postulated this. So there were so many warning signs that this was going to happen. I finally said the quiet part out loud. Intelligence agents from multiple agencies durationally over years would call me and slowly edge at me with this theory and this idea to try to get me to say it. And it felt so manipulative, I had to call it out. So that is specifically why I said it, because I felt that pressure over time. I know you've been told, there are these hints of big things coming. Well, if it is, fucking say it. If it is, then you have a duty to say it. But no one's standing up and raising their hand. So I do think it's absolute nonsense. I think that you're going to see, a comet that's, maybe unique by material pass by the Earth and life goes on. I'm pretty high confidence that that's what's going to happen. But again, I don't know. I'm not an astronomer or anything. I just know what intelligence agencies have tried to push on me.
A lot of people have jumped to a conclusion. Aha, Jeremy was talking about this one. How did he know? And, I was wondering that myself since you hadn't shared it with me.
But you've heard it, George.
Yeah, of course.
2027 to 2036. Ooh, a big thing is coming. Okay, what is it then? How'd you find out about it?
I've been around long enough to remember Hale Bopp. Hale Bopp. Art Bell, people saying, there's something following it, a big spaceship, end of the world coming. And then the crazy cult people in Southern California all drank the Kool-Aid and died, killed themselves so they could meet up with it. Bad stuff.
I've asked Jeremy about that 70s document, and I've asked him more than once. I said, like, what is it? Like, can I see it? And he goes, I don't have it. He goes, I believe he has seen it, but he's never had it in his hands. And I'm like, what is it? And he hasn't explained it to me, but I want to know what that document is and where it came from. But it sounds like it's been being pushed to people, and maybe they got to Avi. I don't know.
I wonder. This is the real question for me is like, why is Avi beating this drum so hard? Like, this is the only thing he talks about. It's like constant. Now, maybe it is because it's just media attention, and that's a good thing. And he's trying to, like, selling a book, and he's whatever. But at the same time, you know, Jeremy's got a point too. It's a consensus of one. I mean, who else is saying this is really strange? Is there, you know, are there others that are saying it? Is it just Avi? It just seems, the situation seems weird. It's not so much that 3i Atlas is weird to me. I don't know enough to know how weird 3i Atlas is. I just know what I read.
The reaction doesn't seem to go away in the way a rational reaction normally would, because the real fact of the matter is this has behaved by and large as some sort of object that isn't under intelligent control. Might be wrong, who knows? But my real question is, if this really is the thing that that Jeremy was being pushed to spread fear around, how far are they going to take this? Are they using this, albeit let's say for a moment it really is just a natural object, it's going to fly out of the solar system as normal. But we've all heard about Project Bluebeam. We've all heard that from Greer as well. Maybe Greer's wrong, but we've all heard about the idea that they're going to completely fabricate an alien invasion. Is this the thing that they're going to use as like a springboard and maybe use this entirely natural phenomenon that's going through the solar system, and one day it will switch to the true fabrication where they are literally, maybe the day they say it's changed course, because we can't all exactly look up and check. Like the average astronomer can't do that. Like, is there going to be a day where they say it's just deployed a shit ton of little mini probes, like, and they're all heading their way here? Is that going to be all part of stagecraft? And at that point, are we going to be entered into the Project Bluebeam? And
then what for?
What for? And how do we genuinely react to that? Does that mean the danger is really actually, it's legit anyway? Because if you're going to stage an alien invasion, you're going to, I mean, the false flag attacks, they aren't just all for show. Like, people get hurt during false flag attacks as well. So
of course, yeah, of course.
I don't know.
We will have to take it seriously, but am I going to sit here and say it's not aliens, guys?
I mean, I don't think I'm there with Bluebeam. I think Bluebeam is a really interesting piece of UFO lore, but I don't think we're going to experience a Bluebeam event. I
don't either.
I think that the idea of a cataclysm that is coming in some future time sounds more like an intelligence tool, right? Like, it's good to have people that think, you know, if you're really good at sleight of hand and you can convince people that you are a sorcerer, that's powerful, right? Like, if you have people that you're bringing into a program and you just tell them, look, something really bad is going to happen, a huge event, we need you, you know, and then what someone, you know, a young Air Force guy hears that and he's like, oh shit, okay, well, what do you need me to do? You know, I don't want the big event to happen, so I've got to be. It might be just a psychological tool to, like, get people involved, and then over enough time, people hear it over and over again, and it becomes this rumor.
I asked a question earlier if anyone had said what it is, and I realized a few days ago I put out on the Others from Another Mother YouTube page that 2017 leaked phone call between Kit Green and remote viewer and intuitive Kay Randall May. And at the beginning of that, she's talking about remote viewing, you know, that supposed base off the coast of California near Catalina. And throughout that phone call, it's 2 phone calls put together, 44 minutes of stuff. She references a cataclysm that happens off the coast of California, which has to do with tectonic plates that have been drilled into. So she's the first person I could think of who actually put kind of a what's going to happen type thing to this cataclysmic event that sets off a bunch of other things.
Well, I remember there was a guy named Ed Dames. You guys remember Ed Dames? This
I know that name. Yeah,
he's a remote viewer, formerly Army remote viewer, and then he got out and he started doing, like private remote viewing training and that type of thing. And right around the time of, I want to say, I forget what year it was specifically, but at one time he was saying that there was going to be some kind of like fungal spores that were going to land on Earth. They were going to be put here and they were going to cause this worldwide famine. And he had the maps to know where you could move to and you could buy these maps. And it was just one of those hype cycles that turned into a bunch of people trying to sell crazy shit, to people who are afraid. And I think that's what I'm weary of, and I'm concerned about with 3i Atlas turning into something like that. But I do think it's interesting, and it's super weird, and I'm interested to see if it does anything. I guess we'll find out by end of January, right? Like whatever.
Yeah, this one intrigues me. This one has me like I never cared about the Black Knight satellite, and I never really cared about Oumuamua, but this one is more interesting for some reason. Maybe because we're being told it's more interesting.
I think it's just engaging. I like the way that Avi engages with the public on this issue, right? Like he's able to basically reach out to people and find a way to engage their curiosity about aliens and then draw them into going to NASA's website or like reading about comets and understanding how they work. And there's something, I don't know, awesome about that. I like that. It's what I like about talking about aliens every week and why it doesn't get boring, even though it's the same kind of topics over and over again. It's because it's just a way in to a bigger conversation about the world, how it works,
and humans, and like what we are, and what there's so many questions.
What we're all about. Why is the Eames chair so comfortable?
So,
dude, we're getting Eames chairs.
After I put out the 3i Atlas episode, was it last week before? I can't remember. I did receive an email from
the Comet.
Yeah, from the Comet, and it said, "Hey guys, I'm on my way. Don't worry, just hang tight." No,
how's parking?
I won't read the email out or anything, but this person was pointing out like Avi's inconsistencies and things like that, and I'm in agreement with you, Clint. These are some of his other quotes, along with all of the stuff that we just like laughed at and were shocked by because he was talking about serial killers and stuff like that. He says, like, these are just a few of the other quotes, and these are all quotes in relation to 3i Atlas. Comets are a mixture of dust and ice. They're being heated by the sun. The heat is changing, and exactly how they respond to that is something that's a bit unpredictable. So at first, he's basically saying, we don't really understand what we're doing when we're looking at this stuff. And then he says, the simplest hypothesis is that 3i Atlas is a comet. Cool. Nobody really publishes that anywhere because it's not that interesting. But then he says, let us instead maintain our childhood curiosity and seek evidence rather than pretend to be the adults in the room that know the answers in advance. Fully agree with that. And I think the curiosity is awesome. And he says, the hypothesis is an interesting exercise in its own right, and it's fun to pursue, irrespective of its likely validity. That's what we do every week. Like, yeah, I encourage, and I've tried to say in the episode, like, I think we should carry on talking like the way Avi's talking, but also remember as well, he said stuff like that, as well as this is a comet blind date that's going to kill us. Like,
that's a little fear stoking. Yeah, that's a little bit of fear stoking.
Listen to that people with the other context.
I think it also is worth mentioning for people who watch podcasts like this one or any of the other great podcasts that are out there, is that, and maybe you guys could speak to this too. I'd be curious what you think. As a content creator, which is a weird term, and I have a love-hate relationship with that term because it sounds like you're just making, content. But as someone who cares about this subject enough to come back every week and try to find ways to talk about it, what's nice about 3i Atlas is that it's a story with a beginning, a middle, and an end. There's a cycle. There's stuff to talk about. It gives you there's material to work with for YouTube, which is helpful. And I think a lot of other content creators pick up on that as well, rightfully so, because you're trying to find things to talk about. And I think we are in a hype cycle around 3i Atlas. It feels like, it definitely feels like a hype cycle. And then at the end of those hype cycles, there's inevitably just kind of a big exhale, and then well, I guess it was just a comet kind of a thing. So I'm ready for that. I'm prepared for that.
That's my logical end to this. Is it's just a comment.
I have a fun clip of John Lear in 1987 telling George Knapp about the big event. You want to hear John Lear talk about it?
Very much.
For people who don't know who John Lear is, his dad is the guy who started the Lear Jet Company. John was a pilot. He's passed away a few years ago, but he was like a big lifelong UFO nerd, and was one of the first people to really sit down and start doing interviews about this stuff with George Knapp. And
he introduced Bob to.
We wouldn't have Bob Lazar without John Lear.
You get to Bob Lazar with John Lear, and he also knew tons of other people, and so he I don't know. This is one of the clips. Let me just play this for a second. It's about, I don't know, 3 minutes.
He was there when on the scheduled flight tests from the peak overlooking Area 51. He was there seeing the dance of the lights in the sky with Lazar.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like you can drive out there, and if you just look up at whatever time, you're going to see these things, and there they are. And there's footage of those guys doing it. Okay, here he is on George Knapp's show.
The pressure is enormous on these people to cover this stuff up.
It's as loud as it goes.
How can that be? Are they afraid of a panic? That people would panic?
There's the panic problem, and there's also the problem that, in fact, in Cro-Magnon man, there may have been some tinkering to make us what we are today. And that's been borne out by several researchers. We couldn't have developed exactly the missing link. Something had to happen to get us going. Between 4,000 and 8,000 BC, we had just been going along, and for hundreds of thousand years not doing anything. All of a sudden, bang, we started making pottery, invented the wheel, invented fire, and everything took off. What was the key that did that? I don't know, but it causes one to think.
You mentioned a couple of minutes ago before the break that you think 90% of these visitors are hostile. What makes you think that?
Well,
doesn't fit with what we think of as ET, you know?
If you read several of these books that are on the newsstands, one is called Intruders, one is called Communion. They apparently come down, and when I say apparently, this is taken from 300 hypnosis cases. A friend of mine has done 140 of them. And the people are abducted, they're taken up into a saucer, usually lasts about an hour. They do all kinds of experiments. They give them shots, they poke them, they cut them, they do all kinds of things, then wipe out their memory and send them back. Only after several months of some psychological problems do they end up going to a psychiatrist. And the psychiatrist, on trying to find out what the problem is, in the use of hypnosis, finds out that this person has been abducted.
What's the reason for that? What are they trying to learn?
There's three things that they're trying to do with these abductions. The first thing is they're trying to monitor us. It started in the early 40s, and they'd put a little unit, very small BB-type object, way up in the backside of the brain, and they'd leave it there for about 18 years. They'd pick them up and put it in about 4 years old. About 12 years old, they would pick them up and monitor it. Then about 18, they'd take it out. The second thing they did is they put a post-hypnotic suggestion. According to many of the people that have been hypnotized, and we found out what they've told them, apparently within the next 2 to 5 years, there is going to be a big event. Something enormous is going to happen. And these people who have been abducted, and there's probably over 100,000 of them, have been given some place to go and something to do. But under our best hypnotic techniques, we cannot find out what it is.
So how do we know that that's true?
Because they said they're going to do something. They know that they're going to do something, but under the hypnosis, they can't find out exactly what it is. And the third thing that they do is genetic experiments.
All right, that's the main thing about the event, though. So he was saying back in 1987, this is within 5 years, 2 to 5 years, there's going to be this huge event.
Well, the event was Bob Lazar
the grunge movement
in 1989, and then the grunge.
I thought it was Nirvana. That's interesting. I think I'm fully on board with this genetics topic. I do think that makes a lot of sense to me. Is some kind of genetic interference. And the abductees thing, where a lot of them claim to have, they've been given a task that they don't know of, but they'll know when it's time. I've heard that firsthand from people. I mean, this is an ongoing thing too. Really, really interesting.
Yeah, that's a whole other discussion for another show. The whole abduction thing. We've got to wrap it up for today, though. Any other doomer news that we didn't squeeze in?
We could have gone doomier, to be fair, but I thought that was
that Palantir clip we'll do next time, maybe.
Oh yeah.
Palantir was going to be good too.
If you can give me a couple of minutes, I might be able to get it uploaded in time.
How long is the clip?
Like 1 minute.
Oh, okay. We can wait for 1 minute.
Okay. Give me 1 second. I'm struggling because I've got just too many tabs open tonight.
That's my constant problem.
In the meantime, Clint, what is your current? What are you hyper focused on now in this topic? What's something that really has your attention?
Dan Burrish again. I need to sit down and go through this project and just figure out I want to stitch together all these bits and pieces that are floating around on the internet with this guy, and I want to try to he basically did I don't know how many 6 or 12 long form interviews, and I just want to distill those down into something that's one digestible thing that kind of lays it all out. And I want to go through and find the stuff that Michael Schratt did and the illustrations and try to find a way to put all of this together in one thing.
Cool.
So this clip's 19 seconds long. Is that going to be long enough? Is that the whole clip, Dan?
Oh, is that it? Yeah, sure. Sure.
Yeah. Okay.
Yep.
Here we go. Must be YouTube messing up or something tonight because the volume on this is good. So I think YouTube's players are a little bit quiet at the moment for some reason.
Plaintiffs are accusing Palantir of developing what they call synthetic intelligence, technology that merges machine reasoning with human behavior prediction, pre-crime, Minority Report style stuff, effectively trespassing into the human mind.
Synthetic extensions.
There's your doom.
There it is.
Have a great weekend, everybody.
Love you. Bye.
Oh my God.
I mean, have I got a more appropriate song to finish with? Because
we need something really upbeat.
Okay, you want the upbeat? Okay.
We need to send people out into the weekend with some pep in their step.
You want vocals or no vocals?
Oh, it depends.
Sometime you got to play one of those Doomer Friday songs that I sent you guys. Those are ridiculous.
We'll do the standard. Keep looking up. Found on the original Night Shift album.
The original Night Shift album, which now has just achieved legendary status, I think, after today. I don't know if you want to tell people. I mean, do you want to tell people?
No.
What?
Okay.
What?
All right. Oh, okay. All right. I don't. Xander can tell you later if he wants to. I don't know.
All will be revealed in time. Guys.
All will be revealed. It's just a cool story.
It's a cataclysm.
Thanks for watching, guys. Thanks to everybody in the chat. Sorry we didn't get to the chat more this time, but we just had a lot to talk about, and it was good to catch up. Don't forget to leave a comment. Let us know what you guys think about all this stuff. I'm really curious what your thoughts are on 3i Atlas. Are you scared? Are you not scared? Is it a thing? Is it not a thing? Let me know. Is there a big event in our future? All of that. Don't forget to like and share. Don't forget to subscribe. All that good stuff. Take care of yourselves and each other. We'll see you next week. Keep looking up, everybody.